Hello automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm going to take you through 5 frequently asked questions that I get about the Google Home and the Google Home suite of products as it relates to music and media that you can play on these devices. One of the big questions I get all the time is, can my Google Home device play radio? The answer is, in general, yes, but it depends which country you're in. And then it depends with that country you're in, which service will work. But in general, right off the bat, if you just ask your Google Home to play radio, that will work. Now, what I'm going to show you is how to find out which service that will actually work in your country here. And if I go into the Browse tab of the Google Home application, you can see I've already scrolled all the way down to the bottom, and you can see this TuneIn Radio right here. So TuneIn Radio works in Canada, and I can go ahead and access that. What's interesting is if I have our iHeartRadio, it doesn't integrate in Canada with Google Home, but I have the application on my phone or tablet, so it's showing up here as my services that I have access to. So what you will find is down here in the Add More Services section, the different applications that you can go ahead and install and have them work in your country. And this is what I mean by it will depend on your region or your country. You can see this Add More Services down here. I could get this application, and I don't know if it works in Canada, but what I can tell you is that India just got access to this application and the radio stations in their country. So this is happening. It's a slow rollout, but in general, if you just ask your device to play radio, then you're going to get that to happen. Now let me show you a couple of ways to actually go ahead and request radio to start on your Google Home. Play 100.3.
Streaming 100.3 The Bear from TuneIn.
Play 100.3 Beaver.
Streaming Beaver 100.3 from TuneIn.
Play The Bear.
Sure, here's 100.3 The Bear on TuneIn.
Play The Bear on iHeartRadio.
Sorry, iHeartRadio isn't available in your country.
Probably the second biggest question I get, and the most popular feature still to this day on Google Home products, is what music can I play on my device, or can I play music on a Google Home, a Google Home Mini? The answer is, again, yes, absolutely you can. And there are many services that you can use, but again, it's going to be dependent on which country you're in. Now, in order to tell what you can do, I'm going to hit the button down here to go to my account, and you can see in the Google Assistant section, this isn't the only way to get to this, but there is a music button. Now, as you tap on that music, you can see the different music services that are available. So down here at the bottom, these are the ones that are available to me here in Canada, and the ones at the top are the ones available to me in Canada that I have already connected to my Google Home products. Now, what this means is I can go ahead and use any of the music services that I've connected with my Google Home products, and you can see that I can unlink certain services like Spotify here in Canada at any time if I don't want to use that service any longer. Now I'm going to show you a demo again of how to use the different services as well, but what I wanted to tell you is if the service is not showing up here, then it is not going to work for you. You don't have access to it in your country. So that's the key piece. Play Foo Fighters.
Playing Foo Fighters on Google Play Music.
Play Foo Fighters on YouTube Music.
Alright, check out this Foo Fighters station on YouTube Music.
Play Foo Fighters on Spotify.
Sure, playing Foo Fighters on Spotify.
Play my old playlist.
Okay, your Google Play Music playlist called Old. Here you go.
Play rock music.
Sure, here's a Google Play Music station called Feel Good Classic Rock.
Now that I've shown you how to play with those default music services, the question really becomes, can I play iTunes on my Google Home or Apple Music on my Google Home? Or can I play even Amazon Music, which I get a lot of questions about these days as well? The answer is yes, but it's not in the same method. What you are going to do is connect through Bluetooth, and again, I'll show you how to do this in a second, but you're going to connect through Bluetooth and then you can play through that service. Let's go ahead and get Bluetooth enabled. Now there's a couple of different ways. You can go through the app, which I'll show you in a little bit, but ultimately I think the easiest way is simply to request your Google Home product to enable Bluetooth. Now I'm going to use this for most of the demo, but ultimately you can do the same thing here. So enable Bluetooth.
All right, looking for paired devices.
Now, ultimately, you can see I scrolled down to the bottom here and there's my living room hub. That's this device right here. Now, you saw it actually make that connection. It is physically connected and there's a play and a stop button here, which we'll talk about later if we even need to, but in general, you shouldn't have to touch those buttons. Now, you can see on my iPhone, there is actually a connected status showing for my living room hub. That's this device. Enable Bluetooth.
All right, looking for paired devices. Bluetooth is connected to Brian's iPhone.
Next song. Google, stop. Disable Bluetooth.
Okay, Bluetooth is disconnected.
Moving on to video type services. So can I play Netflix? Can I play Hulu? Can I play YouTube on these devices? Well, obviously, you know, a Google Home and a Google Home Mini, you can't really play those video services on, but you can use those to cast to other cast-enabled devices in your home. This is a cast-enabled device, but it does have some specific restrictions on it that we'll talk about here in a minute. Your Chromecast device and built-in Chromecast, although some of the built-in Chromecasts on TVs are struggling right now with Google and the Google Home products, but in general, you can request those services to be cast over to your Google Home or your Google Chromecast rather. Now I'm going to show you how to find out which services are available in your country again, because it's all country dependent. I hit the settings button on the main page and I'm just going to go a little bit of a different way. For me, the TV and video is right here at the bottom, but if you're not finding it, you can go into more settings and then go into the services side and you will find TV and video. Now, I've already gone ahead and linked my Netflix and a YouTube Kids account as well. So YouTube by default is enabled on this device on a Google Home Hub. As soon as you've installed this, it will work and you will have access to YouTube there. YouTube Kids is a little bit different, obviously, because it's just kid curated content. Now, what's funny about this, and I'm going to show you a demo again, is only YouTube will natively play here. Netflix, you can't start a Netflix show on a Google Home Hub. You will have to use a cast-enabled device, or you will have to cast to that device in order to play Netflix. Play the latest video from Automate Your Life on YouTube.
Okay, playing the latest video from Automate Your Life on YouTube.
Hello Automators, we're ready for a whole new update. Stop. So there you go, you could see very quickly I can go ahead and request a video to play there, but when I try Netflix, play Designated Survivor on Netflix.
Okay, showing Designated Survivor on Netflix. Sorry, I can't do that yet.
So there you go. Now it looked like it was going to do it, or it sounded like it was going to do it, but it didn't in the end. So what you do have to do is actually go to your Netflix application and, oh, there it is. Once you're in your Netflix application, then you can cast to different devices in your home. So right away, as I'm in my Netflix application here, you can see the little cast button. Now, what it's doing is it's looking for the different cast devices in my home, and right now, I don't actually have any of them turned off. So my Chromecast devices go off if I've left my TVs off. I just power them down entirely. And so what this means is there's no device for me to connect to. Now, there is a little hack. If you have a Samsung tablet, there is a way to cast to these devices that I'm going to play you now. Starting out in our tablet here, what you're going to want to do is swipe down from the top, and this is the screen you get, and you can see Smart View sitting right there. Now, as you tap on Smart View, it brings up this application, and you're going to want to find your Google Home Hub. Now, mine is called Living Room Hub that I'm going to show the demo on, and as I tap, you can see it goes through a connection process, and then once it's done, what you get is actually taken back to your base screen. Now, from here you can go into any application, and you can also see there are some buttons. If you just click on that Smart View button over on the right hand side, you actually get a little menu to pause sharing, change the device, or disconnect, or you can pull down from the top menu as well and then simply tap on that Living Room Hub. You can see it's actually connected to that. And as it's connected to that, if you tap on there, you can actually disconnect and or switch devices as well. So a couple different ways to do that. Now, here's the result of it on my Google Home Hub. The last question that I want to talk to you about is, can Google Home control my Sonos device? And there are a couple of ways that you can make this happen, but natively your device will not connect to your Sonos, any of your Sonos speakers from a Google Home. This will change as we get the Google Home, or the Sonos One rather, with a Google Assistant on board. I believe that will totally change, but Sonos and Google right now do not have a native connection. So what that means is you have to use a third-party service. Now, there are two third-party services out there that I know of today that work very well between Google and Sonos, and those are the If This Then That service as well as the You Know Me service. Now, both of them have improved capabilities since their first release, and what that means is you can wake your Sonos devices, because Sonos devices go into a bit of a sleep mode and they have to be woken up before you're going to be able to control them. So again, I'm going to show you the If This Then That video, a little bit of that video where I showed how to connect Sonos to Google Home and control it using If This Then That. I've gone ahead and gone to ifttt.com, and I already have an account there. You're going to need to sign up for that. As soon as you go to that website, you'll see a sign up process. Get an account there. You're also going to need to do two other things here. I'm just going to show you how to do that through the search. So the first thing I'm going to search for is Google Assistant. You will need to connect this service. So you can see I'm going to the Services tab, tapping on Google Assistant, and top right it says Settings for me, but what you would have there is Connect if you didn't already connect that service to If This Then That. Same thing for Sonos here. I'm going to go to the service, and Sonos is right here. So you're going to need to connect Sonos and Google Assistant, and as well you're going to need an If This Then That account. Now, top right, I can go to New Applet. And from here I can tap on the plus, and now I search for Google Assistant. Once I tap on that, you can see there's 4 choices here, and I'm just going to choose, say, a simple phrase. You may need to choose a different one later. Now, just to show you my Deadpool throwback, I'm going to say just wham to my Google Assistant, or I could say Deadpool throwback if I'd like. And of course, what I want the assistant to say is Deadpool throwback on Sonos, and then I tap on create trigger. Now we move forward from there. Let's hit the that portion of this. choose Sonos, and here I want to show you just a ton of things that you can do with Sonos. This is rare for me. I haven't seen these many control functions from a service in a long time. So you can play any of your favorites. That's the My Sonos component in the Sonos application. You can play a stream, which is straight from a URL. So you could pick a radio station straight off the internet and choose that. You can skip back and forth in tracks, volume up and down, or you can set the volume like you saw earlier in the demo. A mute and an unmute function allows you to mute the sound but continue the playback in the background. And of course, you can go ahead and pause and unpause, which will stop and start the music as you'd like. Now for this action, I'm going to tap on play favorite. And now I'm just going to choose which favorite. And you can see in here, I have a ton of different favorites. I have radio stations. I'm going to choose the Careless Whisper here, but I have radio stations, I have playlists, I have albums, I have artists, whatever you want, and you can choose which devices in which rooms, and you can of course group rooms within the Sonos application as well. So I'm going to click create action, and now we're done here. This is all created, and now anytime I say wham to any Google Assistant, that includes a Google Home Mini, whatever, it's now going to play that song for me. And now what I can do from there is I can use a number of other applets or create a number of other applets here. So there's a couple of pre-made ones that you'll find on Sonos's page when you just search for it here on If This Then That. So you can see this one, use Google Assistant to set the volume to 0 to 100. So I just have to say set Sonos volume to, and that number sign is a variable that you will actually say as part of your command, and it will set it to that in the room you'd like. If you'd like, you can include grouped rooms. That's that applet right there. You could, of course, create it through the process I just showed you as well. You saw me resume Google Assistant. Again, this is on the Sonos page, and you could just simply search for this within the If This Then That service as well. You can play a favorite. And this is the other one that I was using earlier in the video where I just said start Sonos. So, you know, guys, overall, there's not a lot to tell you beyond this. I will show you how to make sure that things show up in your favorite list here on the Sonos application. So let's switch over to my iPhone. Now down at the bottom of the Sonos application, you can see My Sonos, and just as I scroll through here, you're seeing all the different items. Now I just brought up the Careless Whisper there, the song from Deadpool. That's how I chose that. You can see I can also choose an album, a playlist, a song, or a radio station if I'd like, and that's just what I have set up here. Now if you wanted to, you could go to another part of the application called the search portion. You can search for whatever you'd like. I'm going to search for Wham, that's the artist actually, and you can see it's connected to Google Play Music, and I can choose top songs, and if I tap the top right 3 dots, I can add that playlist to My Sonos. And now when I go back to the My Sonos side of the application, you can see top songs. That one on the left is what I just added. That's now accessible from If This Then That, if I'd like to choose that as a favorite with a different command. So there you have it, everyone. That's basically how I got to the point of playing anything I wanted on my Sonos through my Google Home or Google Assistant. Resume Sonos.
Resuming Sonos.
Set Sonos volume to 30.
Sonos volume set to 30.
So you can see right there, it did drop down. Pause Sonos.
Pausing Sonos.
Start Sonos.
Okay, now playing on Sonos.
Now guys, if you'd like to know more about Google Home and the music capabilities, the media capabilities, you want to know how to set up, multi-speaker groups, well, of course, I have videos here on Automate Your Life, and I'm going to leave them here as links at the end of this video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.